video will be something that's fun. It's a tag video, and I love making tag videos because I think it's a great way for you guys to get to know me better and for me to get to know you as well. If you'd like to also make this video and tag yourself or put it as a video response to this video, I would absolutely love to see yours as well. So today's tag video is called My First Time. So without further ado, you guys know I love to talk. I got the questions on my phone right here and I'm just gonna jump right in. So the first one is, do you still talk to your first love? And the answer is no, I don't. I used to love him or have a crush on him when I was, I think, around 14 or 15 years old, and then we moved to Canada when I was 18 and we kind of lost touch. And then years after that, I think maybe I was 23, 24, we kind of connected again on, this is back in the day when MSN Messenger was still sort of happening, when Facebook wasn't around, and we kind of talked a little bit, but then we lost touch again. And the last I heard, he is married with a baby, or maybe more than one now, I don't know. So I'm very happy for him, but no, I don't talk to him anymore. Next question is, what was your first alcoholic drink? And as far back as I can remember, I think it was a beer. But I remember my dad was with his friend and they were having some beer and I was just always curious to try it. And I remember I kept pestering him to let me try it, and I think he let me like have like this much of a sip, like on a spoon or something. So that was my first experience with alcohol. I had a beer with my dad. Next question is, what was your first job? The first time I ever made money, and this was, I guess, an entrepreneur in me waking up. I actually did some sketches for a girl back in Azerbaijan. My mom's piano student, she was in a medical school and she had to do some drawings of like body anatomy, and I was in art school back in the day, so she paid me to do those sketches for her. So that was my first job. Next question is, what was your first car? And my first car was a Mazda Protege. I got it right after I graduated from school, from an interior design school. This was back in 2007. Of course, it wasn't the best car out there, but it was my car. It was my first car and I loved that car until I got into a pretty bad accident, and then the car was a write-off, but it did serve me really well for quite a few years and I used to love that car. Next question is, who was the first person to text you today? And for this one, I gotta go into my phone to check that out. And I think it was my friend Isel. It was either Isel or Nora. I don't remember which one of them, but either Isel or Nora were the first girls to text me today. Next question is, who was the first person you thought of this morning? And it was my dad, because I usually call my dad first thing in the morning when I wake up. He's already at work, so I thought of him and I called him, and yeah. Next question is, who was your first grade teacher? And this one I actually remember really well. I was in a Russian school for my first grade, and the teacher was actually, we were her first class. She just graduated from, I guess, a teacher's college or equivalent of that back in Azerbaijan, and we were her first class, and she was so cute. And I remember I used to think she was so beautiful, and she was a really sweet girl. So I think she must have been maybe 22, 23, so she was younger than me, younger than I am today, but she was a real sweetheart. Next question is, where did you go on your first ride on an airplane? My first plane ride was to St. Petersburg in Russia. My parents took me with them when I was 1 year old, but of course I don't remember. They just keep telling me the story of how I was a good baby on the plane and all that, but I don't remember. Next question is, who was your first best friend and do you still talk? This one is a little bit hard to answer because she wasn't really just a best friend, because she was also our cousin. Mimi and I used to share her as a best friend, I guess, and her name is Aidana and she lives in Switzerland right now, and unfortunately we don't keep in touch on a more regular basis. We would message each other here and there on Facebook and stuff, but we don't really keep in touch, and it's something that kind of bothers me, and I would love to see her and kind of reconnect. So I gotta make a trip out to Switzerland to rekindle our friendship one day soon. Next question is, whose wedding were you at first? And this one is gonna be hard to answer because I don't remember exactly. I think it was my dad's brother whose wedding we were at, but I don't know if I was, you know, ever at a wedding previous to that. That one is kind of one that I really remember a vivid memory of, but there could have been another one. So yeah, it was my uncle's wedding. Next question asks, what was the first thing you did this morning? And the first thing I do every morning is actually cuddle with Zizou, because he wakes up every time I move and he knows that it's time to wake up. He like hears me move and he sleeps on the bed with me, like on his bed, on my bed. And so when I wake up, he hears me wake up, he comes over and he absolutely must have his affection in the morning. He's super affectionate in the morning. So I kind of roll over and he gets on my chest and we have a little cuddle session, and I absolutely love doing that. Then after that, I go and look for Mashki because sometimes she sleeps all over the place. So I look for her and I get to have a little cuddle session with her as well. Next question is, what was the first concert you ever went to? And I think it was Backstreet Boys when we already moved here. I don't remember the exact year. Mimi and I actually got to go to their concert, and it was such a huge dream come true for us because we used to be obsessed with Backstreet Boys back in the day, back in the 90s, and it was amazing just to be able to be at their concert and see them in person and hear their music. So that was my first concert. First broken bone, knock on wood, wherever wood is. I've actually never broken my bones, never broken any bones, so I hope I'm not gonna jinx myself right now, but yes, no broken bones. First piercing was my ears, and I actually don't have anywhere else on my body that's pierced, so it's first and last are my ears. First foreign country you've went to, I guess I've kind of answered this question already. It is Russia, but I guess actually technically when I was born, the USSR was still around, so I guess it wasn't really a foreign country at the time. So I guess the first country that was foreign was actually Canada when we moved with my families. Next question is, first movie you remember seeing? And honestly, there's no way I can answer that one. I don't remember. Next question is, when was your first detention? And I never had one because we never had anything like detention back in Azerbaijan. And when we moved to Canada and I went to high school for a year, I guess I was a good girl and I never got to go to detention, so never had one. Next question is, who was your first roommate? And I actually never had a roommate because I used to live with my parents up until this year, and now as you guys know, I moved out on my own, so I live with my cats, and technically they're not really roommates, they are my family, so never got to have a roommate. So the next two questions actually don't really have to do with firsts, but I will answer them anyways. And this one is, if you had one wish, what would it be? And I guess the answer for me is gonna sound a little bit cliche and pageant-like, but it is truly my wish, and I just would absolutely love to see a world where love, peace, and abundance for all beings is how life is, and I am committing to myself to create that kind of a world in my lifetime, or at least contribute to it in one way or another. Next question is, what is something you would learn if you had the chance? And there's a lot of things I intend to learn, but I think the first one will be learning Spanish. I really would love to learn how to speak Spanish, and then the other two things, I would love to learn how to sew, and I also want to learn how to bike. I know I already told you guys that I don't know how to bike. And then another thing that I would really love to learn, what was it? I just had it, I forgot. Oh, I know, I definitely want to take up a lesson and become yoga certified, or whatever it's called, some kind of a certification in yoga, because I've really been getting into yoga a lot lately and I just want to educate myself more on that. So definitely would love to learn that. And the very last question is, what was the first lesson you ever took? I mean, I was in art school, so I don't know if that considers as my first lesson because that was part of my schooling. But on another way I can answer that is, my mom actually took me to a ballet school for one lesson only, and then something happened and I wasn't able to go and continue that. So it would be either art school or ballet school. So there you have it. Those are all the questions. I hope you guys had fun getting to know me through this tag. I tag all of you guys as well who would like to do this tag, or you can just answer in the comments below. Pick whatever questions you like and answer, so I can get to know you guys as well. So be sure to like the video, follow me on Instagram and Twitter for daily updates and pictures. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Mwah! And I will see you in the next video. Bye!